Hello everyone, hope everyone is doing great. Welcome to the fourth video for the series of highway engineering in which we are solving the multiple choice questions of civil engineering by R. Agar. So we are considering that book. So this is the fourth video. In the last video, in our third video, we have covered question number 40 of the chapter highway engineering. Today we will start from question number 41 till question number 50. So we are covering 10 questions. So let's start with question number 41. But before starting question number 41, I think we should uh, go through some important definitions. So most of the questions from question number 41 to question number 50 are related to gradients of roads. So first we need to look into the different types of gradients. So there are actually 6 different types of gradients: ruling gradient, limiting gradient, exceptional gradient, and then minimum gradient, average gradient, and floating gradient. So the limiting gradient is also called the maximum gradient. What is ruling gradient? Ruling gradient, the gradient usually adopted while making the road alignment is called the ruling gradient, right? It is the maximum gradient within which the designer attempts to design the vertical profile of a road. So for designing of road, we actually consider, or designer actually considers, the ruling gradient. It is also known as design gradient. See, this gradient is also known as design gradient. Second one is limiting gradient. Limiting gradient is also known as the maximum gradient. The gradient steeper than the ruling gradient. Previous one was ruling gradient, right? So this gradient which is steeper than the ruling gradient is will be limiting gradient, which may be used for a limited road length. This kind of gradient is used for a limited road length and is called, that's why it is called limiting gradient or maximum gradient. And it is called maximum gradient because it is greater than ruling gradient. It is the steepest gradient permitted in ordinary conditions. So it is the steepest gradient, most steepest gradient in ordinary conditions. It is used where the topography of place compels adopting a steeper gradient than the ruling gradient to minimize the cost of road construction. So whenever the ruling gradient is increasing, where it seems that it is going to cost a lot in the construction, then we shift from ruling gradient to limiting gradient to minimize the cost of the road construction. Next one is exceptional gradient. The gradient steeper than the limiting gradient. Previous was limiting gradient. So the gradient which is steeper than the limiting gradient, which may be used in a short length of road. Again, exceptional gradients are also used for short length of roads. Only in an extraordinary situation is called exceptional gradients. Sorry, the spell here is wrong. It's exceptional exceptional gradient. So its name is also showing that it is going to use in exceptional situations this sort of gradient, and this gradient is always steeper than the limiting gradient. And the gradient less than minimum and more than the maximum gradient is called exceptional gradient. So again, its name exception is showing that the gradient which will be less than the minimum gradient and more than the maximum gradient, we call it exceptional gradient. This type of gradient is adopted only in a very different situation and for a short length, not exceeding 100 meter at a stretch. So again, limiting gradient or either exceptional gradient, both are used for short lengths. And for exceptional gradient, they have given the exact length for short length not exceeding 100 meter at a stretch. Next is fourth one is minimum gradient. The minimum Again, this name is showing that the minimum desirable slope or grade essential for effective drainage of rainwater from the road surface is called minimum gradient, right? The desirable minimum gradient for this purpose is 0.5% if the side drains are lined and 1% if the side drains are unlined. So this is important point for this question too. Uh, if the side drains of the road are already lined, then we will use 0.5% as the gradient. If the side drains are unlined, then we will use 1% as the gradient, as the minimum desirable gradient. Next one is average gradient. It is the ratio of total rise or fall to the horizontal distance between any 2 points along the alignment of road. Is called average gradient. Ratio of total rise and fall to the horizontal distance between any 2 points. So, like if we consider this figure, if we take any 2 points, like for example, this point and this point, then the average between the rise and fall of these 2 points will be the average gradient. Next one is floating gradient, the gradient on which a motor vehicle moves with a constant speed continues to descend with the same speed without any application of power brake is called floating gradient. Actually, whenever we are moving downgrade, then that sort of downgrade gradient or slope or grade is called floating gradient, right? So these are 6 different types of gradients. Most of the questions which we are covering in today's video are relevant to the gradients. So let's start with the first question. Question number 41. The question is saying that 3 points A, B, and C 500 meter apart on a straight road having 500 meter, 505 meter, and 510 meter as their RL reduced levels on the road is said to have. So reduced level of point A is 500 meters, reduced level of B is 505, and reduced level of C is 510. So the options are no gradient between A and C. It's saying that between point and A and B there is no gradient. Option B is saying that there is a positive gradient between point A and C. Option C is saying that there is a negative gradient between point A and C. And D is saying that positive gradient between A and B followed by a negative gradient between B and C. So option D is saying that there is a positive gradient between A and B and a negative gradient is following, and between B and C there is a negative gradient. So let's see, if we look into this, there are two gradients, right? They have given us two gradients. From A to B there is one gradient, and from B to C there is the second gradient. So both gradients have the same, both points or both lines have the same gradient, which is 1 in 100. So we have a formula for a resulting gradient, which is gradient of 1 minus positive gradient of 1 minus negative gradient of second, which means that our first point A, between A and B the gradient is positive, and between B and C it's the second gradient, which is negative. So here A to B is positive gradient, which is n1, and B to C is the negative gradient, which is minus n2. So hence option D for this question is the right answer. Next question is the best compromise between the increase of length of a highway and reduction in its load carrying capacity in rolling gradient. Again, in this question, these are the options, and we have a table which shows us the type of different terrains and gradients for different type of gradients like rolling gradient, limiting or maximum gradient, or exceptional gradient. So if we look into the rolling gradient, there are three different gradients. For plane or rolling terrains, there is different gradient. For mountainous and steep terrains, there is different gradient, and for elevations more than 3000 meter, there is different gradient, right? And in this question, they are asking about the rolling gradient, right? If we look into the different gradients of rolling gradient, one is 1 in 30, second is 1 in 20, and third is 1 in 16.7. So if we compare these options to the different gradients of rolling, the only gradient which coincides with the options is 1 in 20, because they are asking about rolling gradient, right? In rolling gradient, we have three different gradients, and the option which best suit is 1 in 20. So this is the best compromise between the increase of length of a highway and reduction in its load carrying capacity. The rolling gradient is 1 in 20. Question number 43. Reduction of load capacity in a rolling gradient is, again it's related to rolling gradient, right? In rolling gradient, if we again compare these options with the gradients of rolling gradient, the only one which coincides is 1 in 20, because 1 in 10, there is no 1 in 10 gradient for rolling. And then second option, 1 in 15, there is no 1 in 15 gradient for rolling, and there is no 1 in 25 rolling gradient in the table. So already these three options are not correct. So option C is the option which is correct, 1 in 20. So whenever there is a gradient of 1 in 20 for rolling, we can reduce the load capacity up to 10%. So option C is correct answer for question number 43. And question number 44, an exceptional grade may be provided up to 1 in 12 along hill roads if the length does not exceed, these are the options. So exceptional grade, right? In this table, this is the column which is showing the different grades or gradients for exceptional gradient. 1 in 15 for plane or rolling, 1 in 14.3 for mountainous and steep terrains, and 1 in 12.7 for elevations more than 3000 meter. And in this question, they are talking about the hill roads, right? So hill road means mountainous, right? Mountainous and steep terrains. So the exceptional grade for hilly roads is 1 in 14.3. This is the ordinary situation, but they are saying that if an exceptional grade may be provided up to 1 in 12, the ordinary ratio is 1 in 14.3, but we can provide 1 in 12 if and only if the road length is 60 meter per kilometer, if the length does not exceeds, right? If the road length of the hilly area is, and if it does not exceeds 60 meter per kilometer, then we can provide 1 in 12 gradient or slope. So option number B for question number 44 is correct. The next question is 45. On the recommendation of IRC, Indian Road Congress, the rolling gradient in planes is, now it's talking about rolling gradient and then planes. So we need to look into this table, rolling gradient, and then in rolling gradients we have to see plane or rolling. So for plane or rolling and of rolling gradient, The grade is 1 in 30, which is 3.3%. So option number C is the right answer for question number 45. For question number 46, the steepest gradient permitted on road which in ordinary condition does not exceed is known as either rolling gradient, maximum gradient, exceptional gradient, floating gradient, all of above. As we have discussed and studied about the different types of gradients in the slide, first slide of this video, I have taken that definition here. So see it. Let's read it. The gradient steeper than the ruling gradient which may be used for a limited road length is called limited gradient or maximum gradient, right? Limited gradient is also known as the maximum gradient. It is the steepest gradient permitted in ordinary conditions. So the steepest gradient which is permitted in ordinary condition is maximum gradient or limited gradient. So the steepest gradient permitted on roads is maximum gradient. So option B is right answer. Question number 47. Any gradient on a road is said to be exceptional gradient if it is. Now let's see the definition of exceptional gradient. What kind of gradient is known as exceptional gradient? We have different options like if it is more than ruling gradient. No, because if it is more than ruling gradient, it is, what do we call it? If it is more than ruling gradient, we call it limiting gradient. The gradient steeper than ruling is called limiting gradient, right? Then that's why this option number A is wrong. Less than average gradient. C is more than floating gradient. Last option is less than minimum gradient and more than maximum gradient. So let's read out the definition of exceptional gradient. The gradient steeper than the limiting gradient which may be used in a short length of road only in an extraordinary situation is called exceptional gradient. Exceptional gradient, right? So the gradient less than minimum gradient and more than maximum gradient is called exceptional gradient. So the option is saying that the gradient which is less than minimum gradient and more than maximum gradient is called exceptional gradient. So option D for question number 47 is the right option. Next question is 48. In this question, is related to floating gradient, and floating gradients are generally provided along maximum gradients, along minimum gradients, at summit curves, or at valley curves, or everywhere. So option C is, we can already consider this option E, everywhere, because every different kind of gradient has different purpose and different use. So floating gradient cannot be used everywhere. It has its own purpose and uses. So option E is, we can remove it. So we can look into these four remaining options. So let's see what actually is summit curve. Summit curves are vertical curves with gradient upward. Right? Whenever your gradient of the road is upward, and that kind of vertical curve is called summit curve. And these kind of summit curves form whenever two gradients meet. So there are four different kind of cases when summit curves can be formed. So the first condition is that when a positive gradient meets another positive gradient. Second is when a positive gradient meets a flat gradient. Third is when a ascending gradient meets descending gradient, right? And fourth is when a descending gradient meets another descending gradient. Both are descending. So these are the four conditions. Whenever these conditions apply on a road, the curves formed in these situations are called summit curves. So these figures are showing that option figure A. In figure A, we can see that there are two gradients, right? N1 and N2. N1 is upward, which is positive, and N2 is downward gradient, which is negative. So this is the first situation. And in second situation, when one gradient is upward, which is positive, and second gradient is it's perpendicular. There is no gradient, zero gradient. So this is we can call it flat gradient. When a flat gradient and a positive or upward gradient meets, then the curve formed is also a summit curve. And see, when one gradient is upward and another is also upward, that means both are positive. So this is the third scenario. And then last is when uh, both the gradients are negative. This is the fourth one. When a descending gradient meets another descending gradient, then in that case the curve formed is also a summit curve. So the floating gradients are generally provided whenever there is a summit curve of any of these four types. So if we have a curve which has uh, any one of these four conditions, at that curve we generally provide floating gradients. Next question is 49. So if A is the projected area of a vehicle in square meters, V is the speed of vehicle in kilometer per hour, and C is the constant, then the wind resistant R to the moving vehicle is given by, we have different options, C multiplied by A multiplied by V, or C multiplied by A multiplied by the square of V, or C multiplied by A multiplied by cube of V, or A multiplied by V square divided by C, or the last option is C square multiplied by A multiplied by V. So if we look into this these constants or variables, C is the coefficient of drag, right? So the value of coefficient of drag is 0.6, and A is the frontal area of vehicle, V is the velocity of the vehicle. So if we compare these three variables with resistance R, we can see that the area of the frontal area of vehicle is obviously directly proportional to the resistance. If the area is more, the resistance will also increase. So both are directly proportional. And then the velocity of the vehicle. So when so wind resistance is directly proportional to the frontal area of the vehicle, and square of velocity constant. Square of the velocity constant C is introduced to have a relationship between R, A, and V. So as we know that the resistance is directly proportional to the area, and it is again directly proportional to the square of the velocity. So option B has these two right conditions, right? R is directly proportional to area, and R is directly proportional to the square of the velocity, and C is provided everywhere. Actually, C is introduced to give a relationship between these three variables: resistance, area, and the velocity. So option B, this formula is right formula to find the wind resistance R to the moving vehicles. The next and last question for today's video is question number 50. For a properly designed vehicle, the resistance generally ignored is, whenever we are designing a road for a vehicle, we have different resistance factors which we consider. The options they have given us are wind resistance, rolling resistance, resistance grade, it is also called gradient or slope. Axial resistance. So actually, if we look into these options, except option D, all other options are some sort of external resistances, right? Wind, rolling grids. But axle is actually a part of the vehicle. So in my point of view, axle is part of vehicle. The axle serves to transmit driving torque of the vehicle, right? Hence, axle has nothing to do with the design of vehicle for the road. Therefore, axle resistance is ignored while designing the vehicle. So the right option will be option D, axle resistance. So that's it for today's video. In the next video, we will cover from question number 51 to question number 60. So till then, goodbye. Take care. See you in next video.